A local deputy lying on the ground on the side of I-94, unresponsive, not from a bullet or a knife, but from a plume of white powder.
And that deputy is talking about all this for the first time with the I-Team's Courtney Garish, and this has become one of the biggest risks now for first responders, Courtney?
It has, and we're talking about fentanyl. Even the DEA is calling this drug a significant risk for people who already face so many dangerous situations every day on the job.
That's how I was going to die, was right there on the side of I-94. Not from a gun, not from a knife, from some weird little powder.
A routine traffic stop turned into a lesson in fentanyl for this Waukesha County Sheriff's deputy and her partner. And then Krelevitz says she started feeling a tickle in her throat. Less than a minute later, she was completely out of it.
What was wrong with me? Why can't I function?
The last thing Krelevitz remembers were the lights on her squad.
Laying there watching them get slower and slower and slower and slower.
She wasn't able to talk to us anymore. She wasn't responding to what we were saying.
That's when a trooper at the scene grabbed his Narcan. Krelevitz came to in the ambulance. She later discovered she was exposed to fentanyl. That led to some quick changes in the department.
I always put gloves on.
All Waukesha County Sheriff's deputies now carry fentanyl-resistant gloves. It only takes 2 to 3 milligrams of fentanyl to cause a severe reaction or even death. That's the same amount as 7 grains of table salt.
You never really know what you're dealing with.
In the last year, the Sheriff's Department also looked at how it handles evidence and added this vent system to reduce the fentanyl exposure risk.
We just take the step further to wear the goggles and the mask just to be safe.
Detective Christina Rarick says anytime she's testing drug evidence, there's the potential for fentanyl.
To always assume that there's something contagious or something that can harm you.
9262, copy and route.
Both Krelevitz and Weinkoff feel some good came out of that traffic stop, not only getting the drugs off the street, but identifying the fentanyl risk that is now all too real. And Deputy Krelevitz told us more law enforcement departments are now looking into carrying Narcan because of what happened to her. She says if she had to wait for the ambulance to get the Narcan, she doesn't believe she would have made it.
Can they figure out a way for someone to dose themselves if they're riding solo?
And that's kind of in the works, what they're doing now. They're looking at ways to make it easier for deputies to give themselves that dose. They carry a little tube of Narcan in their squad, but they have to measure it out, and it's given through a nasal mist. So they're looking at a 1-dose option now, the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, if they have to give it to themselves.
Dangerous times.
Makes sense. Courtney, thank you very much.
Shocking body cam video released tonight by the San Diego Sheriff's Department. It shows a deputy on the brink of death after being exposed to fentanyl. The deputy saved by his partner, who was equipped with the life-saving medicine known as Narcan. We do want to warn you, what you're about to see is difficult to watch.
I'm not gonna let you die. I need Narcan! I got you, I got you.
Dramatic body cam video capturing the moment Corporal Scott Crane of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department is promising his trainee, Deputy David Five-Eye, he's not going to let him die after Five-Eye was exposed to fentanyl while processing drugs at the scene of an arrest in early July. That discovery caught on Five-Eye's own body cam just minutes earlier.
Yeah, it's a powder.
Could be cocaine or fentanyl. It tested positive for fentanyl.
The synthetic opioid is 50 times more potent than heroin, and exposure to just a few small grains can have deadly consequences. In Five-Eye's case, the exposure and his reaction to it was almost instant.
A couple seconds later, he took some steps back and he collapsed. I ran over to him and I grabbed him and he was OD'ing.
Corporal Crane was equipped with the nasal spray Narcan, a prescription medicine that rapidly reverses the effects of an overdose. Still, Five-Eye needed more. Here he is, in his own words, still emotional.
My lungs just locked up. I couldn't breathe. I was trying to gasp for breath, but I couldn't breathe at all.
Five-Eye, you okay? Talk to me. Oh, no. Don't be sorry. You're okay. Don't be sorry. There's nothing to be sorry about. I got you, okay? I'm not going to let you die.
Deputy Five-Eye taken by ambulance, overdosing again and again on his way to the hospital. But without his partner and that Narcan, he knows he would have been just another statistic in this country's deadly drug overdose epidemic.
I'm Deputy David Five-Eye, and I almost died of fentanyl overdose.
Over the last year, fentanyl deaths in California have spiked almost 46%. According to the San Diego Sheriff's Department, deputies in San Diego were in fact the very first in this state to begin carrying the Narcan.
The power of even the smallest touch of fentanyl shown in this video. Watch as a Bartlesville police officer wearing protective gloves is packing up drug evidence believed to be laced with fentanyl when he slowly starts to collapse.
Becoming ill, lightheaded, and actually basically passed out or fell.
Seconds later, a rush of officers coming to the rescue.
I don't know what would have happened had they not acted so quickly.
Sergeant Jim Waring says officers quickly gave him Narcan, which is believed to have saved his life. Police say this is the first time they've had to deal with something like this, where they had to give one of their own officers Narcan.
Really fortunate that one, we had this available to us, and two, that our officers really adhered to the training and paid attention to the training.
Another layer to the opioid epidemic, and an eye-opening to what these men and women behind the badge have to deal with.
Even though the officer may not be physically dealing with an individual, all the evidence and things that we handle on a day-to-day basis, you know, that can harm you too.
An officer fentanyl scare captured on camera. 2 Greendale police officers came into contact with the deadly drug while making an arrest at Southridge Mall. 12 News' Eden Shekel has the video.
But it's what police found in this purse that's alarming.
Just a heads up with a purse, a bunch of white puff stuff flying out. No. What it is, but it's got me all sniffly.
The officer started to show symptoms associated with exposure to fentanyl, a synthetic opioid that's becoming a major safety concern for first responders everywhere.
You did not get exposed to fentanyl, did you?
Again, for the second time.
A second officer approached the woman in handcuffs.
Is there anything in your purse we should be worried about for officer safety?
It's not my purse.
Whose purse is it?
I don't know.
But she insisted it's not her purse.
I'm being dead serious. I've been exposed to heroin and fentanyl once. I don't want to get exposed again.
Back at the police station, another officer also showed symptoms of fentanyl exposure after touching the same purse. Both officers were given Narcan and rushed to the hospital. A Greendale police sergeant tells me both officers are doing okay and they have already returned to work. In Greendale, Eden Shekel, WISN 12 News.
San Diego Sheriff's Department is sending out an urgent warning today after the near death of a deputy. New body camera video shows what happened to one of their own after being simply exposed to fentanyl while on the job. ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala joins us live from the sheriff's headquarters in Kearney Mesa with the message they want everyone to hear. Mimi.
Hi, Lindsay. They want people to see this video and realize just how quick and easy it can be to accidentally overdose on fentanyl. And I want to warn our viewers that some may find the footage to be disturbing.
I got you, okay? I'm not gonna let you die.
As fentanyl-related deaths continue to be a problem in San Diego County, the Sheriff's Department has released this dramatic video as a public safety warning showing just how dangerous exposure to the drug can be.
I'm Deputy David Fivai, and I almost died of a fentanyl overdose.
Overdoses are on the rise throughout our county. Every day, deputies recover fentanyl in our communities.
Medical experts are drawing skepticism about the video of a San Diego sheriff's deputy who reportedly overdosed on fentanyl on accident. We first showed it to you last week. ABC 10 News reporter Jennifer Kastner is joining us. And Jennifer, specialists tell you that his symptoms don't appear to match the story.
Lindsay, that's exactly right. There are a lot of questions being raised about how exactly this happened. We are still waiting on the Sheriff's Department to release the full report, which was expected to happen sometime today. The dramatic video that made headlines nationwide now raising concerns from some health experts.
I would say there's zero chance that it was caused by fentanyl exposure in this case.
Monday, Professor Leo Beletsky with the UC San Diego School of Medicine weighed in on the body cam video released last week, where a San Diego sheriff's deputy is seen falling to the ground after reportedly coming into contact with the opioid fentanyl while he was processing drugs at a scene. He was given Narcan to reverse the effects and has since been released from the hospital. The undersheriff said Friday that he was wearing gloves at the time, but the thought was that he either inhaled or ingested the powder through the air or skin.
You're saying it's biologically impossible to overdose to that extent that quickly just by touching the substance.
Yeah,
Professor Beletsky said fentanyl would take much longer to overdose on, either through the skin or by breathing it in.
You would need to be in a room where lots of powder was constantly in the air for hours in order to start ingesting enough of it to experience these symptoms.
The symptoms being displayed are not consistent with an opioid overdose.
Medical toxicologist Dr. Ryan Marino with the University Hospitals of Cleveland said an overdose would result in a loss of the airway.
The officer who is experiencing the symptoms is breathing on his own. He is maintaining his airway, even looking up close at his eyes, which are open, which would also be kind of atypical. He doesn't have the pinpoint pupils that we would expect to see. He never kind of loses his coloring, doesn't turn kind of blue.
According to the American College of Medical Toxicology, the drug must enter the blood and brain from the environment. Toxicity cannot occur from simply being in proximity to the drug.
It gives people an erroneous idea of what a opioid overdose looks like. I think it unnecessarily stresses out first responders and other people who may be in contact with someone who's overdosing.
And we reached out to the Sheriff's Department for an interview or a statement, and we are still waiting to hear back.
Bullshit is everywhere. Bullshit is rampant. Parents are full of shit, teachers are full of shit, clergymen are full of shit, and law enforcement people are full of shit. This entire country is completely full of shit, and always has been. From the Declaration of Independence to the Constitution to the Star-Spangled Banner, it's still nothing more than one big steaming pile of red, white, and blue all-American bullshit. Your ass! Blow it out 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 your ass! You know?